listen to my name. Is it working? Are we back in paradise? I think I'm in paradise again. Ah! I swear, it was because of that crappy World of Warcraft trailer. Everybody downloaded it at the same instant, and we're so simultaneously disappointed. It brought our internet to a crawl. We're experiencing 70s levels of internet reliability right now. Hey, we're back, guys. Hip hop hooray! Ho, hey, ho. The turkey tastes like wood, or does the chicken taste like wood? Chicken. Yeah, it's the chicken. You're sitting at your friends looking at food that stinks. Okay, that was intense. Without the internet, how are we going to find a sense of mutual meaning by virtually communicating with one another? You know what I mean? The fuck? All right. The great thing about Dungeon World is to summon YouTubers. It's the same roll I've been rolling all night. Oh shit, I rolled a 3. That means we're going to have like 4 viewers now because I rolled so badly, and there will be unexpected consequences, like a wall of ice will peel off of a nearby rock face and smash me, leaving me maimed to where I will frighten children for the next 25 years. Actually, frightening children is really not that bad of a consequence. You know, it's kind of cooler when they're afraid of you. All right, hey, everybody's back. Look, they're back. Paul Byrne. Oh God, they've opened up the dark portal. Man, this Warcraft trailer. What the hell, yo? We made a movie with some orcs in it. By the way, they're weird CG orcs. We also made a movie with that one guy that you kind of recognize with a beard. We forgot that they're in the same movie, but then right at the last second, we decided to edit the scenes where it kind of looks like it's one movie. World of Warcraft. So bad. All right, is Twigs in the chat room? I see her typing something. Oh, she's writing hate mail to the internet company, to internet.com. She's telling them, I've seen better internet on Jesse Jackson, bitches. All right.
I think they would know who that is.
If you don't know who Jesse Jackson is, press pause on Ernest Does Christmas and do a quick search. The guy's a badass, and he looks kind of like that black guy in the second Star Trek movie who got the earworm. Okay. I made a career of frightening my children. Well, if you're getting paid for frightening kids, then you are probably a rich man, sir. Rich Manser. Isn't Rich Manser the guy that defeated the Formics in Ender's Game? Anyway. Or was Rich Manser the keyboardist for the Doors? This is really dumb humor. All right, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back, guys. We just had Stills run forward. A rat leapt into the air in front of him. Made his roll like a boss. Took the damage detriment on a mid-grade roll and still iced the shit out of the rat. So he looks back, nods to the group, creeps forward, and finds this wooden door. The door is coated with a thin layer of green slime. Now, for the sake of argument, we were going to talk about defend next, but I don't think we're gonna. I think we're going to move around. So the reason I was going to talk about defend next is when you take a close look at Dungeon World, you realize the way they developed the basic moves is that they took stat checks and made them into moves, right? So hack and slash isn't just melee attack, it's a strength check. Volley isn't just a ranged attack, it's a dex check. Defend isn't just like I hold up my shield and then I have the same armor class I had yesterday. No, it's a con check. So you use your constitution, use your bolstering, thickly hewn frame to defend your homie, right? So, I mean, we can try that scenario if you want. Another rat jumps up. Helm leaps forward and says, I stand in defense of Stills. Get back. The rat jumps forward, and we roll for defend. Boom. 7. Awesome. So I pick 1 from the list of defend, right? So I'm going to take redirect the attack toward you. So the rat attacks Helm instead of Stills, doesn't even do enough damage to get through the armor. So Stills looks up at his buddy Helm and says, yeah, man, nicely done. Now, if you look at my cheat sheet, the only thing I changed here is the notion of the term hold. I don't understand why they tried to introduce this term hold and fuck with your mind thinking it's some kind of microcurrency and all this kind of, it gets confusing. And I've talked to some people playing Dungeon World right now, and they told me, oh yeah, we never even used hold. And like, I was playing a 3-month campaign. And I'm like, well, how did you have a dwarf who doesn't even have a weapon? He only has a shield, because those are the coolest dwarves in all RPGs. How was he a defender? And he's like, he didn't really defend. He just kind of would kill things. And just, no, don't do that shit. Figure out defend. Defend, in my opinion, is actually the coolest move of the basic moves, because you get a lot of really sweet effects, and they finally gave the defender a role. In D&D, a defender is kind of like not cool. He kind of gives some negligible ass bonuses to his homies and has a high to hit number. Lame. And maybe he like regenerates or some shit with second wind or whatever. Oh, whoa, I'm seeing people all of a sudden. Murder hobos. Oh, murder hobos is insane. Yeah, there's the rat I'm talking about. Whew. Okay, so defend, a great move, great basic move. I would build a whole character around defend. And I think they kind of allow for that in the book with the fighter, but honestly, I would take it so much further. I would make a tribe of dwarves who is sworn to never even touch weapons. They're shield masters, and the shield masters are masters of defense. But they don't just defend by using the defend basic move. They have a series of special moves that they would learn over time, and they have like a creed, which is that their function is to protect their allies, not to press the offense and stuff. And it just makes for a really cool, interesting character. So that's defend. You get a high roll, 10 plus mod. You got 2 effects from defend, which is, divert an attack, half the damage, do a little bit of damage. Or you got the basics. Now, what I was getting into right when we went into lag hell, and we got 70s internet, is sometimes if you offer the choices that Dungeon World rolls offer, right? So I roll mid-grade on a volley is a perfect example. So I'm firing arrows at the orcs. Okay, and then I roll, and I'm like, I got a 7 mod. I'm like, oh, well, shit, I'm just going to fire too many arrows in an attempt to do my damage, which is 6, and mark off some ammo. Yeah, that's my choice right now. The other players are waiting. Now, that may not seem like much time, but even the 45 seconds sometimes that it can take a player to kind of put these pieces and parts together and make the choice, if you're really in a hot and heavy battle or in a really cool role-playing situation, that can be a long time, honestly. So, what do you do, Hankerin? You're asking me. Well, you get one of these. Now, I'm sure you guys have stuff like this laying around. This is a dice from a cool little game called Dragon Slayer, but there's tons of these kinds of dice out in the world. It's a dice with 3 symbols on it, an axe, a shield, and a fire thing, an explosion. So what you can do as an attempt to streamline your Dungeon World game is, instead of offering the options to player choice, just associate them with your dice here. So then, here's your Dungeon World roll. This is my 2d6 for success, my class damage, and my optional results, right? Boom, 1 roll. There, I rolled a 9. I've got an axe, and I did 6 damage. So if I was firing a volley, I reduced my damage by 1d6 because that's what the axe is. So I did 3 damage. There you go. That way you don't offer it to the players like, okay, well, you rolled an 8. So either choose to blah, 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 or blah, 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 or blah. You see how the game slows down? If you just make the associations with this random symbol dice, boom, 1 roll. And what's cool is that I actually think it adds to the narrative of the game. Now, sometimes you could say, all right, fire a volley, but your positioning is superb. Even if you roll mid, you won't suffer any penalties. And the guy's like, oh, sweet. So he doesn't even roll his consequences dice. Bang, I got a 7. I did 7 damage, and I'm still in my cover. Oh, yeah, I got you. I freaking Hawkeyed your ass. And I'm not talking about Jeremy Renner. I'm talking about old purple Hawkeye. The cool Hawkeye with his big things up here, you know? You can't take every superhero, put him in black jumpsuit, and just call it good with like 40 buckles. No. Hawkeye's purple. He's got a flying motorcycle with a giant bubble on the front. And when he rolls a 7 and he's firing a volley, he does not get consequences. Damn. You heard it here first. Hey, Ryan H., what up, dude? Welcome. Everybody picks him or Cesra Khan. I think I got patroned in the... I got put... I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about at this point. You have completely lost your freaking minds. So that's awesome. I hope I'm keeping you entertained while you go into La La Land. It's Sam Zatorsky. What up, dude? And Nom Nom, he's getting into parling some Francais. So ake beno on that one, which is not a language thing. Those aren't actual words from any language. Great. So we've gotten through hacking and slashing, right? Good hacking and slashing, high rolling is boom, you didn't touch me. And by the way, I did some more damage. Or one or the other, whatever, choose with your dice. Okay. Mediocre hacking and slashing is boom, ow, right? A good volley is I'm unscathed. A mediocre volley is oh, I kind of missed, or I used too many arrows, or oh, I'm up here, guys. Again, either let your player choose or use a consequences dice. Okay, and then defend the baddest ass of them all, at least for me. I'm just a dwarf guy. Same drill, man. 2d6. Shit, I got a nat 10 on that one. Woo! And then I got extra damage as my bonus dice, so I don't even have to choose. And 4. Extra damage is 1d6. 7 damage. That was my whole thing. It's great. It's awesome. Okay, that's the first 3 basic moves. Now you see a pattern developing, and this is when you're seeing DCC RPG. That's another video, my man. So when you see players getting into Dungeon World, this is the mindset you want to put them in. Now you can use whatever dice tools work for you, but the mindset you want to put them in is 2d6 damage dice and consequences. Consequences are the key to the mid-grade successes. And, you know, like we said earlier, you roll a nat 12, man. No consequences, maximum damage, you just pwn them up. All right. Getting a little excited. Let's have a little bit of this and cool it off for a second. Yo, what up? Oh, shit, Milo's in the place. Well, raise a glass with me, will you, my man? And for everybody else up in here chatting about whatever the hell you guys are talking about, Cyrus Draken is a player in my group who plays our wizard Milo. This is a fascinating character to play with because it is a halfling wizard. Halflings are always these kind of cheerful village goers, you know, who like to make cakes and drink pumpkin beer and stuff like that. But when you equip halflings with incredible power, you get an interesting juxtaposition because they cease to be those jolly, simple creatures that we associate halflings with and become these powerful, multiplanar beings. And it creates an interesting character. They lose some of their mirth and they become much more. Anyway, I digress. Cheers, brother. John Stevens, how does Dungeon World magic work? It works the exact same way, and this is what you want to take away from the vid tonight, from the stream tonight. Is like, master these basics. Do not fuck with magic and all this other cool shit until you got the basics nailed, because it will only get slightly more complicated. Now, one beautiful thing about Dungeon World, it barely gets more complicated. So as the DM, if you're inventing spells, which you damn well better, because if you're not, poop on you. All you got to do is use this, I guess you could call it tertiary success, but that tertiary is a dumb word. It's really binary. So it's like fail, succeed barely, or succeed awesome. Give a spell that tone. So let's take an example and just make one up for you, John. Fireball in Dungeon World. I know it's in this book, but I'm not even going to look. So Fireball, I cast it. I've got my class damage. Right? Oh, hey, great. Nat 7. So I would say on a Fireball, you do damage, but also are in either A, engulfed by the fire, or B, it slips out of your control and goes a direction you didn't want it to. So you would roll a dice for direction, and someone else in that path would take damage. Now in 5th edition, you get your evocation wizard, and he used spell sculpt, and he never really cast things on his enemies. I think you could bring that into Dungeon World if you wanted to, but it would be a little bit against the spirit of the game. So then you cast the same spell, Fireball, you roll Nat 11, let's say. You do the damage, you precisely place the Fireball in an exact sculpted space, whoosh, and extinguish it with a gesture. And the gesture is actually so potent that you frighten off 1d4 other enemies. Right? I rolled a 3, so 3 rats in our case. We got these gooey green rats. Just run off in pure terror from the impeccable execution of the spell. That would be it. Remember, in Dungeon World, there's no time and space. So I don't need a measurement on how big the Fireball is. I don't need a duration on the Fireball. We are removing all of that in the name of just, boom, I got the Fireball done. How big was it? Oh, shit, whoa, what? And then 3 of them ran off. Cool. Okay, Stills, you're up again. That kind of stuff. That's the pace you want to build with Dungeon World. And all the flavor comes in the invention, and it comes in this little gem of a roll right here. Now, shit, man, I've been rolling D20s for years, and it is awesome. But I got to say, when you start hinging a lot of suspense on a 2d6 roll, it's really freaking fun. So do like I do, which is a weird thing, but just sit around and roll 2d6 for a while. Start to see the number patterns. Start to see, like, when you roll snake eyes, that fucked up feeling. And when you roll dub 6s, how cool it feels. So that's a quick answer, John, on how you do spells. Yeah, and yeah, it's exactly it, John. It's just like DCC, but without the charts. Man, DCC is so awesome, but it's so deep and big, there's no way you're ever going to memorize it. And your players just visibly just drop in excitement when you pull that big book out. It's just like, oh, he's going to read from the book again. Oh, fuck. We tried it. It doesn't feel in the moment when I got to look in the DCC book for all the weird shit that happened when you cast your spell. So build your Dungeon World spells so that you've got clean results like on the cheat sheet. Simple, clean results that can either be easily written down by your wizard on a 3x5 or easily tracked by you if it's a new spell to him and he's not sure what's going to happen. So I hope that all makes sense. Too late, hard soft. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put a flag in the sand on this one. I loved playing Middle-earth role-playing back in the early 90s. And that was the D100 tables. So the whole game was run by D100 tables. There's still some games around that do that. Really fun, detailed outcomes. But man, it was doing your freaking taxes playing that game. Oh my God, I don't want to be in here. It's like, hey guys, you want to come over to my house? That's not cool. I want to look at my friends' faces. I don't have like the best looking friends, but they're not so hideous that I can't look at their face for a few hours. Am I what? Okay. So, wow, I just need to keep on drinking because I'm getting a little excited. Now, don't be mistaken about the progress of our players here. I've been rambling on this whole time. So by now, we would have easily done the whole encounter. The next item is the first change I really did to the game. Well, I did one before. On Defend, for a high roll, they had 3 results. That is so overpowered. It makes Defend the best move in the game. I pulled that down to 2 results. So again, get on the Facebook page, pull up my cheat sheet that I just posted, and you can kind of read along with me and live. Yeah, Rollmaster, crazy shit, crazy shit. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Dr. Coxey. Yeah, no doubt, dude. Okay. Whew. It's getting a little bit of fun in here. Now we're only like what, 2 Coors in right now. Hope you guys are all enjoying a delicious alcoholic beverage, because you know you feel a lot smarter when you're not smarter. Okay, the next one is one that is definitely an odd choice they made when they wrote Dungeon World. And I think they were trying to be cute or funny, but what they wound up doing is they're pejorative toward their players. So the intelligence check in Dungeon World is called Spout lore. And I don't know about you guys, but Spout lore to me sounds like something that an asshole would do, like a jerk. Like, hey guys, I spout lore. Did you guys know that the Space Needle was built in 1962 because of the World's Fair? And the elevator goes up to 12 miles an hour as it ascends and descends. That says spout. Shut up! Good grief, why are you spouting so much lore? Okay, so in the book, it's called Spout lore. I cannot, as a player, I never want to proclaim that I spout lore. I will get stabbed. So I changed it to recall lore. Now, I've always thought that intelligence checks are coolest when they're kind of like cataloging. Like you're like, oh, I've heard about this thing before. And that's how my players always do it. They always ask me, have I heard about the purple worm? I seem to recall, like, wasn't there something, you know, something about it burrows or it can swallow you or something? Do I remember that? Is what they'll ask me as the dungeon master. And so I'll say, well, let's roll it up. See if you can recall the lore. There you go. The magic just happened. Okay, so if you guys are rolling, roll with me. I just whipped up a nat 9, and everybody's +1, so I just nailed the mod 10 right there. Boom. So when you recall the lore with a 10 mod or better, not only do I say, oh yeah, actually, the purple worm burrows under its victims and swallows them whole. Doing a lot of intestinal damage from within can cause the purple worm to regurgitate you. That's my reward for a successful recall lore roll, right? And then my player's like, that's fucked up. Seriously? And then as he's saying that, woo, the worm comes up and goes straight up Muad'Dib on his ass, right? Then he's inside the worm, and he casts Fireball on the pancreas to try to get the thing to puke him up. Because he rolled so high, he's +1 when he's acting on his knowledge. This is an awesome thing that Dungeon World has that I gotta say, D&D has nothing close to it. Now, a good, clever DM would give advantage to a character that used recalled knowledge in an action, but honestly, that gets a little tangled for me. It's so simple to say, answer one question, one recollection, and then give you a +1 when you act on it. So simple. So I actually got a mod 11 on that one. And then I cast Fireball, successful, boosh. I do X damage. You know, the friggin' worm regurgitates me, and then I'm a hero among all, and I'm coated in acidic bile, which winds up doing me 11 damage anyways, and I drop. That was just a sadistic, pardon me. So if I get a mid-level success, which I didn't right there, but let's say I did, mod 8, I just answer their recollection. Don't I remember something about the purple worm? Yes, you remember it comes up underneath its victim, swallows them whole, and if you do enough damage from within, then it will regurgitate you. But he doesn't get the bonus on the roll when he casts Fireball on the pancreas. You see the difference? So recall lore is a really cool check for everyone to use, not just intelligence power characters, right? Now, when you're going to do channel arcane power and other magical powers, you should also use plus intelligence. And you can come up with all kinds of stuff. We're going to do that in a different video. Right now, it's all about the basic moves and drinking. I was eaten by a purple worm once, and it was not fun. Yeah, that was some crazy shit. You fucking what, mate? I don't even know what that means. Nom, you rolled a 9 too? That's cool. So you, well, you're mod 1, right? So you got +1 on your roll because everybody gets +1 tonight. So you got a mod 10, nom. So you got the same thing. You got the +1 when you, +1 forward when you cast Fireball on the pancreas. Jesus. Okay, whew, we're halfway home. All right. Next up is another one that I changed the name of. In the Dungeon World book, the wisdom check, which in D&D is generally a perception check, is called Discern Realities. Now, once again, I think the writers were trying to be cute or clever or something here, and they failed. Sorry, guys, but your book is awesome, but you fucked up on this one, because Discern Realities is like a thing that no one wants to do. And what the hell does that even mean? That's some Timothy Leary shit. Like, I'm going to discern realities. It's like, shut up with your obsequious talk, dude. Sorry. Get the hell out with that shit. So I changed discern realities to investigate. Investigate to me is something every character wants to do, and we're back on the board. So it looks like it's safe, so they motion for Zymer to come up, and he investigates the slimy door. Let's do it together. I got a nat 8, so I got a mod 9, so I'm still in the mid-range. And just like Recall Lore, this works very similar. So I'll answer your closer look. So I say, well, you examine the door. You realize that touching it will probably result in an acidic sting to any organic matter that touches this acidic goo that's running down this door. What the fuck? But there's a little padlock on the door handle. So, how am I going to work with that with this acidic goo all over it? I'm done. That's the answer I gave you as the investigator. Now, if I had rolled high as an investigator, let's say I have a 16 wisdom or something, I got a +3 on my roll. Holy shit. Well, now I'm rolling mod 10, baby. So not only do I get the description that I just got, but when I go to very carefully pick the lock, I'm going to get a +1 because I rolled high on the investigation. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because damn is it simple. And there's people, looks like text teabagging. The Discern Realities belongs in Call of Cthulhu. This is a perfect description of why that is so wrongly written. It's like, am I dreaming? It's just like, dude, shut up. Come on. Just pick the damn lock. So, in an awesome term of teamwork, Zymer says, hey, Stills, come up here. Or wait. Hey, Stills, I'm old. Come up here and pick this lock. So Stills come up. He receives the information. Be careful. This is acidic goo. And then what I would happily give as the DM is that Zymer offers his +1 over to Stills as Stills attempts to pick the lock. Stills is now defying danger, which we haven't gotten to technically. But despite the threat of being burned by acid, he's going to pick the lock anyway. Now, we're going to get to that later. So let's keep going and get to that in the order. There's something nice about going through this order. Okay, the next one that I changed the name on. Let's change the scenario a little bit. So Zymer says, Stills, go ahead and pick the lock. You're the rogue. And Stills is like, yeah, never. I don't want to get burned. My fingers are my manhood. It's fucked up. Okay, so now we're going to do a charisma check between the two of them. Zymer wants to convince Stills to go ahead and pick the lock. Now, in Dungeon World, the move is called Parley. Oh, my God. Did you watch freaking Jack Sparrow movies? They say Parley like 390 times. I never want to hear the word Parley again. Unless it's a little green sprig of garnish next to my steak, then I love a nice perky piece of Parley. But no, don't call things Parley. No one proudly announces that they want a Parley. Come on, are you kidding me? So I changed that to convince, because convincing is cool. So Zymer goes to convince Stills to pick the lock. So roll plus charisma, which is a +1, and whoop, mod 10. Mod 10, Zymer simply convinces him with his word. I promise I'll be your friend and care for your goats if you pick this lock. And Stills is like, you know, you're right, old man. I'll do it. Okay, now if Zymer had rolled something more like 7, he convinces Stills, but he's a goblin. He's like, well, it's going to cost you 5 gold. And Zymer's like, fine, I'm old, 5 gold. He pays the rogue, and the rogue turns around and commences to defy danger to pick the lock. Again, we get this nice, tasty binary success. Do I just convince a mofo just by saying, like, I'll take you to a movie someday? Oh, yeah, okay, you're awesome, dude. Or is it like, well, I guess I'll do what you want, but can I have your car? That would be a mid-level success. Now, failure is just failure. Zymer's like, pick the lock, and Stills is like, fuck you. It's that simple. That's why failure isn't quite as interesting to talk about as binary success. Okay, so what used to be Parley, don't say Parley in your Dungeon World group. Say convince. Be cool. Marley, don't parley. I think it's meant to be parlay. Yeah, well, if it was meant to be parlay, then it would be an A, not an E at the end, because this is America. Well, we're not all in America, though. So it could be P-A-R-L-E-T. That would be parlay. Hops and Parley. The Beer Purity Act of 1536. Water, hops, and Parley. Oh my God, I hate it when things seem funny and they're just really, really stupid. We're drinking Coors beer up in here. Okay. Baboosh. So next we've got aid and interfere. We just keep bending reality around to demonstrate the basic moves, but these poor guys have moved like 8 feet in an hour and a half. But we're talking about basic moves, not trying to resolve an encounter. So he aids Stills picking the lock by telling him about the slime and unfortunately micromanaging him as he's doing it. Same thing now. So if you look at the cheat sheet, it's either grant 1 to your buddy or inflict a -2 on your enemy, and then you roll again. And this is so simple. I fucked up. So Stills gets no bonus. That was my first roll, was a 4. Ooh, this one's nat 9, so mod 10. So I grant him the bonus, +1, and I'm unscathed. Now let's say I roll, mod 8. I grant him the bonus, but as Zymer leans in, a big drop of green goo goes and gets on his glasses. Oh no, I can't see without my glasses. And he's distracted, and actually one of the lenses of his glasses corrodes. This isn't going to be important right now, but you damn well, as a dungeon master, talk about a perfect thing to cash in on, because mages and scholar type characters are always reading. And if they have a lens that has you got to bring this to bear somehow. But don't worry about it for now. Stills picks the lock. And we have an open door. Well done, you little goblin fiend. I'm very proud of you. Oh my God, who's that up there? It looks like an evil NPC blocking the way. All right, great. So we've gotten through everything except defy danger. So that's the last piece. So Stills goes in. He goes for defying danger, which picking the lock despite the threat of green goo. Mod 10 or better. He just picks it. Doesn't even touch the goo. What? And by the way, okay, well, just hang on. So mid-level success, he barely succeeds, but something terrible happens. Now, what's the bonus on this one? It's just variable. So since he's picking a lock, it's definitely dex. I mean, come on, that's an age-old tradition. So Stills is adding his dex bonus to this roll. Ba-ba-doom, there you go. Ciao. But let's say he rolls 8. He picks the lock, but makes a loud, clunky noise doing it. And then the door opens, and he looks back at Zymer, just like, sorry, dude. I'm level 2, man. That was the best I can do. Or a simpler one would be he actually touches some of the goo as he defies danger to pick the lock, and he takes the damage, right? Just like Zymer did. But it's great. Defy danger is a flexible sort of a stat check that you can use any stat for, and so is aid or interfere. So if I want to aid someone in a volley shot, I can kind of sit next to him and point and stuff like that, and I'll use wisdom. A spotter. It's dope. There's no spotter in D&D. If I want to aid my friends by bolstering a defense, I get behind the dwarf and push against him and make him an invincible shield wall. Roll strength as the bonus to aid, and so on and so on. This gives the players a completely free-form format to use their stats to help each other. It's kind of cool to hinder enemies, but honestly, it's way cooler to help your buddies than it is to kill bad guys, right? I mean, that's how The Rock lives. That's how Vin Diesel lives, and that's how we should live. I like the rattle lock. The doorknob falls off. Clunk, 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 clunk. You know, some classic fool of a toque type shit. So by the time the door swings open, this hovering, robed noble is up on the stairs, and he's just like, fools to enter our oubliette. You will die here. All around him begins summoning this cloud of green goo. And now we're really into the thick of the encounter. That's the core of it, you guys. That's the core of the cheat sheet. So you're hacking and slashing. Do you just go, boosh, do some extra damage and just walk away untouched? Or do you go, boosh, oh, whoops, ow? That's kind of your binary success. Volley, do you just nail him and like freaking own it? Or do you nail him, stumble forward, use too many arrows, maybe not do as much damage as you wanted? When you're defending, do you just barely divert the attack, or do you not only divert it, but you protect your friend? When you're investigating, do you get the answer you're looking for, or not only get the answer, but know exactly how to exploit the answer? And when you're convincing someone, do you just convince them outright with your speech, or do they demand some kind of collateral from you? And then finally, on aid and interfere, or on defy danger, use any stat bonus you want to perform the role you want to perform. Do you barely get away with it with some terrible consequence, or do you just walk away unscathed? So you can see how that binary success just rolls through the game. And this is the freaking game. This is why you can do almost everything in Dungeon World in 2 columns, and it's baller as shit. What? Doors are nothing? Well, doors aren't a thing. I mean, they exist. Unlike the moon, right? Whew, man, I got kind of excited there. So I think now you can see how it would all play out as a game. Okay, are you still doing a lot of the same things? Fuck yeah. I mean, people are still creeping up. They're still wondering what monster's next. They still go up to this guy and they're like, go ahead. I dare you to cast your spell. You know, in my family, we have a strange power where we deflect mind control goo and it actually turns on its caster. It's a thing. And the GM's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Roll convince. Convince this guy that what you're saying is true, because it's 100% bullshit. And then boom. So in this case, snake eyes. So the floating noble is like, you have no such power. But let's say I roll nat 11, nat 10, mod 10. He rethinks. He actually shrinks with his spell. And in that instant, Helm hurls a fucking spear at him. And that is unleashing a volley. So then we roll for Helm. Boom. You see how it works. Now, if you really want to commit to this shit, you don't even do initiative. You just let it flow. Now, if you have a lot of really creative, really aggressive players, it's going to be complicated. So I still recommend going around the table. But you see how I just kind of played out a little micro sequence? It didn't matter whose turn it was. But removing some of that turn sequence does like assume a lot of cooperation on your players. Hey, Drawroff. Welcome to the show, and Klatau. So out with 5th edition. Oh my God, 3d6 fire damage. I've been playing D&D for 38 years. Can I not just add? Okay, cool. Yeah, this is the second half of the stream tonight. 36 years in, man. You guys, me too. I'm not quite that many. That is very impressive. I am. I'm 30 years even. 30 years even into D&D. So, oh man, do I feel your pain. 5th edition is freaking fantastic. Let's just get that out in the open first, okay? It's awesome. It's easy to learn. They removed bonuses and penalties and replaced them with advantage and disadvantage. You guys know that already. It's old news. Year-old, 2-year-old news. You know, some people like Cyrus, they freaking beta tested the damn game. So this is all old news to them. But it's a great question. I've been playing D&D forever. I know this thing top to bottom. I can spot their rules adjustments when I see them. That's how well I know the game. So, dude, seriously, can't I just integrate some of this into my game? Fuck yeah, that's what I do with my current group. But spoiler alert, next year my group is going Dungeon World. Now, is it going to be the same group? Or are they too hard-headed to play Dungeon World? I don't know. I think all they really care about is the story. And that is the sign that you've been playing D&D forever. They don't want their characters to go away. They want to see what happens. They want to undo the evil. They want to finish. They're not there to demonstrate how many spells they know from the fucking player's handbook or some shit. They're not there for that. They're there to hang out with their buddies, see their friends every few weeks, and see the story progress as a group and have stories to tell about it. So it's still a tough question. I've been playing D&D forever. Do I really need to just play Dungeon World? Hell no. Just keep playing D&D, dude. But I have to say, draw off. I have to say, if you take a look at Dungeon World not as a trendy new thing and like, oh, this is cool, it's a substitute for 5th edition, and oh, this is better and stuff like that, don't think that way. This is just another RPG. It is not going to solve your problems. It's not going to make your group more fun. That is still completely contingent on all the same things. Are your players friends? Do you have a fun, creative relationship with them where you don't troll each other in destructive ways? Can your players learn to love one another and to show that in the game? Can you, as the GM, support a story that unfolds enough where they want to see what happens next? They don't turn into murder hobos. I think murder hobos is pretty funny, but honestly, I think it really undermines the moral fabric of what I believe in, that D&D is a tool for saga storytelling. Saga storytelling is not a tradition among us as people because we talk about murder hobos. It's a tradition because it reminds us of all the best sides of ourselves in the face of very difficult obstacles. And if you're in a group where the core of the group is the hilarity of your sadism, it's just not going to last. It's just crap. I can't be entertained by it even. I find it vile. Sorry. There you go. Good stories involve doing good things despite all these different challenges. And there is simply no exception. Good stories are not about sadistic assholes. They just aren't. Because that is not the function of a story. You don't want to walk away from a story like, man, you know what I want to go do tomorrow? Kill a bunch of people for no reason and then hide in a cave. No, that's a shitty feeling. Good stories make you feel good because good things happen in good stories. All right, whew. Don't get me started on that topic. Trolls are very destructive. Kill them with fire. Amen, brother. Or acid. Depends on what kind of troll you're dealing with. Okay, so I think you guys see where I'm taking everything, right? So they talk this guy out of shit. They defeat him. They come up here, and then there's some, I don't know what's going on up here. There's like 5 guys. I wanted to demonstrate maybe some of the combat mechanics, which are, if this guy has the highest damage in the group, that's the only damage you roll when you're rolling for your monsters. And then I would just add +4 because there's 4 other guys. That is staggeringly different from Dungeons and Dragons. Staggering. But damn, does it make sense, because it makes the DM have one turn, one action. Now, different guys can be doing different things. This guy's going up here with a chain that he's swinging around. This guy's pulling some mysterious lever up here. Like, what the fuck's he doing? This guy comes up here and begins hurling a spear. You know, you can have all your interesting stuff. He comes up here and defends his master. But the master, the beer demon, if you remember him from the other video, he takes his barbed whip and cracks it and does D12 +4 and ignores armor. This is fucking hardcore attack in Dungeon World. Now, Good segue. The other critique I've heard of Dungeon World, it's really hard to make it difficult. There's so much fun, different stuff happening, and narrative freeform that's kind of focused on fun. You find yourself, well, how do we get a challenge going? The brilliant thing about 5th edition and D&D in general is that you use tightly controlled spatial mechanics to impose difficulty on players. But in Dungeon World, you impose difficulty on players with sudden, violent danger. And to me, I think it's more representative of the threats that a fantasy adventuring group would face. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys get this feeling, but in D&D, you get this damage sponging sensation, and the only way for a thing to be dangerous is not only to absorb a shit ton of damage, but to dish out a shit ton. And it just doesn't have that fun feeling like the Disney movie Dragon Slayer, you know, where like a dragon unloads a breath weapon, you're fucking dead if you're in it. You're not only dead, like you're burnt into a black skeleton and your soul never rests. You don't take 4 damage or something because you saved. And I think that's something that can translate really well into Dungeon World, but you got to know the mechanics to make things dangerous. We'll get to that in another video or something. For right now, basic moves, basic moves, basic moves. Binary success. Master it. What? Good stories, the fear of facing down. Oh, yeah. Amen, brother. Oh, yeah. Man, I know that feeling. There are things that the audience doesn't quite know about me yet that I don't want to reveal now because I'm working on a video for it. But amen, Draw-Off. Man, survive, dude. You realize in those moments that it's not even you doing the surviving. The surviving is manifesting through you. It's not even up to you. We are surviving creatures, and it's fucking awesome. Is a shit ton more than a buttload? Yes. Yes, a shit ton is definitely more than a buttload. Plus, a buttload is like sort of buoyant. A shit ton just sinks like a rock. Okay, that's it. And I'm not going to get into the rest of Dungeon World because I don't believe in absorbing a system that fast. Dungeon World is too good. The music is too well crafted to just be like, hey guys, it's 2 hours. We're all going to learn how to play Dungeon World because I'm Hanker Infernal and I'm a Mr. Professor guy. No! You got to master the basic moves. You got to master binary success. You should be able to take 2d6 and make anything up on the spot, right? I am going to do some Appalachian clog dancing. Let's roll. You guys roll 2d6 for clog dancing and we'll see what happens. I got a nat fucking 10. So not only did I roll up, I'm just like fucking Foggy Mountain Boys on that ass. They invite me to join their family. I'm coupled with 3 of their daughters. And I walk away with 3 jugs of moonshine. The only way to kick my ass is if you get a nat 12. Nat 12 clogging, you don't even touch the patio. You're just floating. You're just like, what? What? And then everybody's so inspired, they just start going. They clog for you, dude. That's how good you clog. But you couple with no one. Because, you know, people can be intimidated by nat 12 clog dancers. Anybody roll? Okay, Draw-Off, we got a nat 8. So Draw-Off is a perfect case. And same with Kachki. Nom nom, you're fucked. So Draw-Off and Kachki, they go up and they're like, oh, I know about clog dancing. I saw it on YouTube. And they're like, and then like old man Henley is like, that ain't clog dancing. That's that damn stomp show. But not a bad effort. You will couple with our donkey and teach him stomp. There you go. That make any sense? Okay, as for Nom Nom, you roll a nat 2, so you roll up and start clog dancing, realizing you're wearing your Adidas, and there's just like no sound. It's just nothing. I'm sorry. You failed. So you rolled Snake Eyes? You fall down and sprain your ankle, actually. You won't be clog dancing for the next week. Dungeon World uses Power. Yeah. Hard soft. Dungeon World does use Powered by the Apocalypse. That game, honestly, the genre to me is overwhelming on the mechanics. The genre is so clever and detailed and filled with character. The mechanics kind of get eclipsed, and it's hard. It's so rich with style inside Powered by the Apocalypse. It's hard to find room, at least for me. I also just don't like those characters. I don't like these mutants and weird sexual deviants that are like eat gasoline and like poop green stuff and like and wear gas masks all the time. I can't relate to any of that shit, man. That's not cool. I'd rather be a dwarf who's like, I've never compromised my principles and I can drink you under the table. Yeah. I live in a simple world. I got to walk to go see my cousin. It's going to take me 3 months. You want to come with me? Like, that's the kind of, character I can relate to. Not some weird sadist S&M chick with a machine gun that's got a gas mask on who's rolling sevens. That's fucking weird. Hillbilly, the buggering. Oh, man. Appalachian folks are awesome folks. Hillbilly, I think, might be a derogatory term. I'm not quite sure. We need to comment on that factoid. But no pejorativity intended. Clog dancing's fucking awesome, and that's why you want to roll high. Hey, how do you know about my donkey love? Well, we all have our side interests. Am I still using anything from DCC? Klatau Barad. Am I still using anything from DCC? The main thing I think that's useful about DCC is just to crack open the book and just kind of read the book. Those guys are so brilliant. It's a little bit like Powered by the Apocalypse. It's so brilliant and thick with information. It's great to just soak and then kind of put it away and be like, whoa, how do I, and if you read the DCC modules, oh my God, are they wealthy? They use such simple mechanics to like move you from room to room, and then they have like the taint and all that kind of stuff. And they have really fun ideas. But if you were to take them all at the same time, package them into an adventure, I think it gets a little bonkers, honestly. I would love to see some real life, fast moving DCC game footage, if that's a thing. But for me, there's no way I'm going to run a DCC game in any kind of efficient, dramatic fashion. I would never even try. It's just too thick. But as far as just cracking the book open and just being like, oh my God, I love pulp fantasy so much, fall asleep. It's okay, they're not online. It's like mocking the Amish. Well done. You said that, not me. Rock on. All I can think of is Witness. It's just, that's all I have. And there's the Coven, is that what they're called? There's an X-Files episode with these like Amish wannabes who are actually extraterrestrials with a clay cave. I digress. I'm from the Ozarks. We're hillbillies. Hey man, the Ozarks are fun. There's some good parties down there. People get all crazy and shit. But the food, I don't know. Food in the Ozarks. Good barbecue. The rest, I don't know. A couple 100 miles from here, that's the western part of the Ozarks. I'm on the eastern side. Oh, shit. Eastern Ozarks is just that big flat swamp with that weird bridge. That's crazy, man. Dear God, don't go to Branson. Friends don't let friends go to Branson. Branson's weird. There's too many signs. There's too much information. It's a freak show. Okay. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something about Dungeon World. I've been on a long, slow quest to try not only to learn Dungeon World, but to mod it and prepare it to do a campaign that is an extension of our 5th edition campaign, which is coming up on a year long right now. If you really take your DMing seriously as a real hobby, as a craft, you never want to just bumble into some kind of a system and stuff like, especially if your players have, big expectation on your craft level, on the precision level, on the investment in their characters, on the teamwork of their characters, the consistency of the revelations of the story and stuff like that. Like, if you have all those expectations set up, you don't want to be showing up one night and you're half drunk and you'll be like, hey guys, okay, let's switch to Dungeon World. You're a ranger. No, don't do that. Do your homework. Make sure you can run Dungeon World slick and smooth. And most importantly, intuitively. You can process it not into, you did a thing, well, here's the results. Don't do that. You need to be able to intuitively adapt, because you know how players are, man. They do crazy shit. Crazy shit. I think sometimes they show up with some ideas already about how they're going to fuck with you. The DCC funnel is great fun, fire up the meat grinder. You know, I saw that, and I saw it as a sort of a gag to actually belay the real guts of role-playing. The gag of a bunch of people dying moments within their creation, to me, is not tabletop RPG. To me, it felt like a sort of a cupcake instead of a meal. You know, it's just a little bit like, haha, that was funny once. I never want to do that again. Yeah, the book, dude. Brendan, get the book. The book is freaking spectacular. All their modules are mind-blowing, just smorgasbords of ideas. They're just fantastic work. DCC is just amazing. But I can't remember who asked earlier. Was it John Stevens? I'm not sure, but you've been playing D&D for years and years and years. DCC is pretty tough switch to make, especially if, like I'm saying, switch in earnest. Know what you're doing. Don't switch and like put people through some crazy experimental shit. That's not cool. Oh man, Dark Sun. I mean, we're toward the end of the stream here, so maybe I can friggin' juice on Dark Sun a little bit. But oh my god, Dark Sun is so freaking cool. It's one of the few variant worlds that held, and it might have been because the art was so spectacular for the what was it, the obsidian doorway and all that stuff, and like the tone that it brought was so tangible. It wasn't like a weird tone. I think Eberron was a really great book and really interesting, but it got so crazy and a little bit advanced. It was almost like Shadowrun-y in a way that it was hard to fully put your mind around it. Now, there's some great ideas in Eberron that everyone should have in their game worlds, like the Black Pools, the Warforged, transit systems I would vote against. I think it can kind of wreck a fantasy world. But the Black Pools in Eberron, if you don't know about that, get into that stuff. That big crater with the weird tentacles and shit, it's awesome. Keith Baker did a great job on Eberron. But a lot of these like offshoot sourcebook worlds are just so strange and exotic that it's hard to even really get in there. But Dark Sun is just raw as shit. It's Mad Max D&D. And that is easy to understand. And it just keeps it real consistent. It's just fucking dope. So if you haven't played Dark Sun, get work done. It's almost like diametric to Ravenloft. You know, Ravenloft gave this like Baroque, Gothic, lacy feel to D&D, and it's really fun sometimes. Dark Sun went the opposite way. Dark Sun stripped it down to the bare bones and just made it nasty and freaking visceral, and it's just killer. So anyway, if you want to play Mad Max D&D, get yourself some Dark Sun just for reference and put it together. Just make your shit raw and savage, you know. We generally play like classic. To me, classic D&D is still the funnest style because everyone knows what's coming in a way, but in a good way, so that they feel like their knowledge from doing this all this time has come to bear. That's a great feeling for a player to feel like, oh shit, that's a displacer beast. Now, does their character know that? Who cares? The player feels good, you know. So that's kind of the style that we play. You know, you see a gelatinous cube and you're like, oh fuck, gelatinous cube, it's on. Oh my god. Right? Gelatinous cube has been around since freaking forever, but it's just still fun every damn time. Palmyscape. Yeah, Ravenloft is great. Ravenloft and Dark Sun, I just can't recommend enough. That's right, I misspelled it. Yeah, you fucked up, dude. You did not spell that properly. Well, in the interest of science, I better finish this mug pretty quick. So I don't know if you caught it But definitely look into some of these fun alternative style dice. They're super cool if you're going to rock Dungeon World, where there's some choice elements involved and consequences. We also use them. We have some like weird seeds, like they're kind of Jack and the Beanstalk seeds that use odd dice. I've been considering, I don't know if you guys have some thoughts, but I've been considering this whole like card thing. Remember how Pathfinder did all these cards and shit? So you could track loot and some other items a little better. But kind of thinking about maybe that would be cool. Have you guys ever had good experiences with the whole freaking card thing? Like, does it over board gamify your game? Is it better for players to write down and imagine their stuff rather than kind of get a cool little card for it? Or I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand on the whole thing, but this is like the next frontier I'm imagining. I was kind of thinking Dungeon World and then add some cards that involve gifting. Basically, each card would be a move, and you could learn your character that way. Oh my God, Spelljammer. Spelljammer is so great. Holy shit. A lot of people hate on Spelljammer. But again, this is not a book that's going to solve your problems and give you a cool setting. Like, I think if you came right out of the book on Spelljammer, it would be kind of super dumb. But back when we were playing Spelljammer, Star Trek Next Generation had just come out. So it was like, what was that, like 91? That's when we were playing Spelljammer. And it was awesome because, you know, like spaceships and everything were really fun at that time. And the whole mindset around exploring in space was super new and fun at that moment. And we had a freaking blast with Spelljammer. We didn't just like go into space and never come back. We kind of did it as a little side area. But we basically modeled our Spelljammer campaign off of the old Star Blazers show, the Battleship Yamato show. And then we had like a little bit of Robotech mixed in. So there was kind of like the Zentradi with their big battle cruisers were out there. And we got in our battle cruiser and shit. And oh man, this stuff's crazy. We had cool like wetsuit style space suits, kind of like still suits. So we could run around in space. And it was just awesome. Crazy shit that I don't think would necessarily fly with today's audience. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm not going to elaborate on my opinion of the modern audience. I think they have a hard time with contributing their own imagination to things a little more than in past years. I mean, in the 80s, you got like 6 inches of rope and a piece of cardboard, and you're playing for a week, you know, with no supervision, by the way. Spells might be nice on cards, but loot, no. Interesting. Yeah, I agree, Nom Nom. You put the loot on the cards and it cheapens it in a way. But anything where you need to track a couple of little tight facts, I think a card might be nice so that your wizard doesn't have to do all that work. Or, you know, every character, as they learn and evolve, they don't have to do that clerical work. Fucking role-playing. Rolling dice, killing shit in our minds with our friends while hoisting a horn. It's awesome. Amen, dude. And you know, this is something that I want to talk about all the time on the channel because I think it's under fucking stated. Especially lately, man. It's like everything's going to be okay now because celebrities think D&D is cool. You know, I'm happy that celebrities think D&D is cool, but honestly, fuck you guys. Where the hell were you when we were all getting beat up and made fun of? Oh, I remember. You were making fun of us. So people want to act like, oh yeah, now D&D and tabletop are all hella legit because celebrities do it. Dude, the cool ones were doing it back in the day when they were getting made fun of. I think probably Vin Diesel is probably pretty legit because he's like a Silmarillion dork. But honestly, all of them individually as people are probably 100% legit as tabletop players. What I don't like is the response of the mass culture to be like, oh, thank God, celebrities finally think this isn't weird, so maybe we should give it a try. You know, and I bet like skateboarders felt this in the late 80s and early 90s. They were like, who are all these people coming and skateboarding? Fuck you guys. The practice of doing it, group storytelling with your buddies and stuff, it's so old. It way predates D&D and wargaming in general. I think it goes back to like Mancala times. You know what I mean? Like, this goes back to the Lascaux caves and shit. This is people using expression to remember and to set standards. On the one hand, remembering that they want to recall all that we believe ourselves to have been, what we've descended from. And it is extremely important to constantly remind ourselves and our friends where we came from and what we believe to be good. Constantly. You can't do it too much because it makes us all better. And the other part is setting standards, which means sometimes, especially in modern culture, I don't know why, but it can be awkward to proclaim what you really believe to be true and right. And then people are like, fair. But this is the coolest context and forum for people to proclaim what they believe to be right, what they believe to be beautiful, traditions that outlive time, and do it in a way where they don't have to put themselves so far out there that they're, soapboxing. And that's what makes it so damn timeless. Now, in the meantime, when you use mechanics to work it, it gets even more gravity. And the mechanics can be anywhere from go paint a picture all the way down to can you beat an 8 on 2d6. Like the specificity of the mechanics you use to remind yourself the concepts is relatively non-salient. But the activity of doing the reminding, critical, right? I mean, shit. I just read 2 comments at the same time on accident. So I saw like, Vin is only 5'9", but he's the anchor of the racing on the boat. I don't know, things are moving. Yeah, the fire of killing the mastodon. Vin, his body, captain of the rugby team, anchor of the boat races, love of role playing. Yeah. Yeah, and no one ever said anything about jocks, man. Jocks are fine. Being athletic is freaking awesome. It is totally non-exclusive to being a nerd and a role player. So that whole dichotomy was all forced on people to make people feel better about themselves. It's not real. Onyx the Fortuitous. We should start worshiping Satan for real. I'm going to pass on the Baphomet stuff. I don't like the fashion component. I think it's non-creative. The music is bad. And the footwear, oh, don't get me started. Just terrible. It only took 30 years. Hey, Brendan, man, it's way longer than that, dude. This is, it's not over and it's barely begun. So just dig in. Just dig in. Keep doing what you think you're supposed to do. And when somebody tells you not to, well, you know what to do next. Oh, star. Head hurts, big words. Yeah, we're getting a little crazy. We're coming in toward the end. It's almost 10. Well, it's almost 10 in my world. It's like 7 in the morning in the UK or some weird shit, which is probably when they all go to bed. I don't know. Those guys are crazy. The former tyrants of my people. Thank God we've thrown off their oppressive yoke. But they did give us Ollie G, and that was good. Athletics, you should see my ab. Oh shit, you only have one? That is amazing. Me too. I have one ab. It's just like a cylinder. It's like a giant beer can. It is Friday night, you guys. I'm so psyched. Tomorrow we're going to do the much talked about but seldom executed Saturday D&D marathon. It's tomorrow. I've got all this crazy shit just off camera, but since the group had to postpone, I didn't want to spoil anything, so I can't show you any of the new shit until like next week. 6:45 in Germany. What the fuck? That's weird, man. That's just weird. Go to sleep, dude. Watch this later. Oh, you having a giggle? You having a giggle at my mom's bedtime? Yeah, Ollie G with a question mark? That blows my mind. Morning beer. Christ, I remember that one. It's great to have you guys. I'm not sure how many people are in right now. 22. Nice. We got a 22-person D&D group right now. That's great. Big night. Getting a lot more viewers. It's great. By the way, thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate that shit. I have no idea what I'm doing. And it's getting harder and harder. Like, you can't just do this. So I'm going to try to continue to be creative, come up with new ways. I think it's another thing that makes Dungeon World intriguing too, is like, man, there's no better experience than when your brain's making new connections and you're forced to learn again, especially when you're old. The older you get, the more fun and challenging learning gets. Like, man, when I was a kid, I would just read a book once and memorize 2/3 of it. This is crazy. Now I'm like, who is Adam Kobold? Is he a kobold? Town? What's town? What page is town on? You know, like that kind of crap. Thank you for the vid. Hey, Paul, good to have you, dude. Go to sleep. Are you one of the people in Germany? I'm fucking with you. Woohoo! Saturday marathon. Yeah, man. Nothing quite like playing D&D for 10 hours. Getting that numb butt. Oh, man. Good times. Swords, poison, battles, maiming, killing. I'd rather not maim. If you're going to go to the maiming phase, you should just finish the work and get them dead. Got to get the game ready for the kids tomorrow evening. Hey, Hobgoblin, thanks for tuning in, dude. See you around. Good luck with your session. Be a badass. Play nice and smooth and slick and make it fun, all right? Yeah, nice painting. I don't know what that means. Oh, this thing? That's my fireplace. Yeah, that was weird. Did the entire painting with paper towels. What a strange experience that was. Hey, is RedTube mean? YouTube Red fucking you over? No, hell no, dude. RedTube, that red YouTube stuff doesn't mean anything for small timers like me. I think I made like $250 total in almost a year of work on the channel. So like, I am not relevant to YouTube. In the interest of total transparency there, you know my revenue for this project is excruciatingly low, but I'm not here to make money. I'm here to try to hone the craft, you know, and I think you have a better time honing the craft when you share and it comes back at you. It pushes. And I think for whatever odd reason, I reached a point where I wanted to push the ability to do it. Live games would be boss. Yeah, man, I agree. I'm still trying to figure out a way that would be cool. I think the thing that's been keeping me away from it is it's just D&D is really about participation. And as a spectator, I'm not sure if it's going to come across. I don't know. I think other people disagree with me. They're telling me, like, get on Twitch and try this other stuff, but, man, I'm not sure. Yo, Ora Damaru. Thanks, man. I will keep going. You keep going. Let's do it together. That'd be cool if I could beep. I need a button where it could beep me out. It would make the videos funnier so you wouldn't have to listen to my horrible language. You can't unlearn shit. Just stuff it in and let it rip at the table. That's fantastic advice. Oradamaru! Yes, we want live game. Oh, man. Gotta figure it out. I think the way I might like it is if each character had a camera, kind of like the Node videos. They did a pretty good job, but I even thought the Node videos are the best ones I've ever seen. The editing work must have been insane. It must take a month to edit those things. But even then, I was a little flat. I wasn't feeling the gravity. Live games. Watch how Critical Role does it. Critical Role is okay. A lot of times I feel like it's acting. I know they're really playing D&D, but I feel like there's a lot of acting going on there. Yeah, I think it's fun to watch. The amount of actual content that they move through in a session is kind of eh. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just don't like watching it. I'm not feeling it. I think, is it Chris Perkins? Is that the guy's name? The DM? He's really fun, like sort of voice actor and stuff. But I often get the feeling it's not about the players and it's not about the content. It's more about like anecdotes and stuff. I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm a little bit the same with Node. It's kind of like cool people roll up and play D&D and kind of try to make it cooler than it is. And it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like, you ever see party footage, like people partying? You're like, that's the lamest party I've ever seen. But if you were there, you were like, that party was amazing. You know what I mean? It's really hard to capture the feeling of just being with your friends and just kind of goofing around. and then try to capture that and form it into some kind of awesome, you know, I don't know. God's Fall. I'm not sure what God's Fall is. Looks like I need to check that out. Matt Mercer. Oh, Matt Mercer is the guy with the long hair with the awesome voices and everything. Yeah. Super fun, descriptive kind of DM. But like, especially the one where he plays with Vin Diesel, like they play like 10 minutes of actual D&D. The rest is all just talking. Nothing is like a live game, sitting around with your friends. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Doing online D&D is really tough. Like the fact that everyone can't talk at the same time and everything, it really takes away a lot of what is a natural way to socialize. Yeah, Provokers is pretty funny. Provokers, I think the best thing they have going for them is their title. Like that is a badass name for a group. We provoke things. So that's about it. We're running out of time. I am pooped. The work week is done. We have made so many shoes this week, so the world's going to enjoy all the shoes we made at work. And, you know, the holes we dug and the wires we connected, the machines, the screws we twisted. It's going to be a better world because of a hard week at work. But that's it. Yeah, somebody tell Will Wheaton about my channel, and maybe he'll come over and hang out one of these nights. We can see if he's really cool. You know, we could do that thing where you put the little data chips into the thing. And that's about it, though. So, number 1, World of Warcraft movie looks like shit. Number 2, Dungeon World. Get the basic moves cheat sheet from my Facebook page. If you're looking at getting into Dungeon World, come on, let's do it together. Let's figure out best practices and mine this game for the real goods, not just kind of ride it on the surface. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I think this was our biggest stream ever, so that's great. That's really fun. It's almost 6 a.m. Dude, Paul, get the hell out of here. Are you kidding me? Go to sleep, dude. You're a madman. Yeah, good to have you, Paul, Nom Nom, everybody. Rock on. Nice to have everybody around, and keep doing what you're doing. Please keep hitting me with the questions, requests, private messages, and comments. It's giving me all the ideas to keep going. It's awesome. It's just like a giant idea machine. So thank you. I'm done talking. My own voice is starting to just sound like the hideous laughter of a night hag right now. I can't even take it anymore. Even the Coors. The Coors are not strong enough to numb the pain. And then, yeah, the dogs are starting to get involved. Jimmy Jim is moonwalking under the table. Good to have you guys. And we are the frick out of here. So Humpback Whale says, peace. Twigs, thank you for your IT work. It's the end of my holiday. Fuck it. That's the spirit, Paul. Okay, you guys, we'll see you on the channel in the future. Keep on being badasses. Strength, honor, beer, and more beer. Good night, y'all. Have a good weekend. See you next time.